Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Minds. Today we have a very special guest, Matt, over here with us. And I'm very excited to have Matt. He has a lot of experience. He is or was the president for the local association in Lincoln and owns a brokerage and does excellent community service along with managing multiple different businesses. In addition to all of that, he also manages to be the real estate investor and has extremely good insight in the entire local market. So without any further delay, let me open up the floor. Matt, introduce yourself.
Hey, Amish. Great to be on the show with you. I'm Matt Kirkland with Giving Realty in Lincoln, Nebraska. And it's a really neat honor to be on your show with you today. Like you said, I have my hands in a lot of different activities and like to, stay diversified in the real estate business. Just love real estate and all the things that it can bring to you. And so happy to be your guest today.
Great, thanks. Thanks a lot. So tell us how did you get started? Did you plan out a full career or what got you interested?
I was always had a career in sales, and my wife and I started investing in some residential rentals,
Mhm.
and we both got our real estate licenses. And for a number of years, I was kind of just a real estate investor mainly, and a part-time realtor. I would, sell a house or two a year to a family member.
Yeah.
Um, but the whole time we were building our portfolio, and I was really inspired when I took my real estate courses. The gentleman that came in and spoke was the owner of the real estate school, and he said, when you get into real estate, you're opening yourself into this career that has endless possibilities. And he said, for example, and he rattled off his resume to us at the time. And at the time, I was just a sales guy thinking about getting my real estate license. And he's like, well, I own the real estate school. I own this building, right? This commercial building that the school was in. And then it was a Coldwell Banker franchise at the time. I'm a owner of the Coldwell Banker franchise, and I own these rentals. And he just rattled off like six or seven things in real estate that he did, and I was inspired by that. And my wife Jennifer and I have tried to do the same. We want to have, lots of diversification, multiple streams of income in real estate, and I tell people that are interested, young folks that come to me, they're interested in getting into real estate. And I was like, real estate's wonderful because you can buy and sell homes, you can do property management, you can sell farms in Nebraska, right? You can sell big farms, you can sell downtown commercial buildings and condos. So there's just such a variety of things you can specialize in, and their possibilities are really kind of endless with real estate.
Yeah, exactly. So you did bring up a very interesting point of when somebody's getting started in real estate, there is I think everyone goes through that, right? Like there's this always this shiny object syndrome. Like, hey, I start off on the residential side and the commercial looks interesting. I start off over there.
Right.
Property management might look interesting. What's your recommendation when you're guiding someone? Like what would you recommend someone?
I think what we just discussed, like it can be whatever you're interested in. Just because you're in real estate doesn't mean you have to buy and sell houses with people, right? You could get into managing. My wife manages residential investment
Mhm.
properties and a little bit of homeowners association management, and what I like to call small business commercial.
Mhm.
She's not managing any big downtown buildings, but we have a few small, like our commercial building here that we own. It has two tenants. We have that, and we manage a couple others, what I call small business commercial, like one small building that has one tenant, right? Pretty easy to do. Um, but being a kid from Nebraska, we have the two big cities here, Omaha and Lincoln, and then the rest is a lot of farm and smaller town communities and a huge farm economy. So, you can get into selling farms and acreages and things like that. Um, so what is it that you're interested in, right? It doesn't just have to be selling houses. It can be a variety of interests in real estate that pique what you're interested in, and then you just go for it. And that's
Yeah.
what, I've really enjoyed the residential real estate. I'm a big relationship guy.
Mhm.
I genuinely like people, meeting people, working with
Yeah.
people. So for me, helping a family, achieve their real estate goals is what I really enjoy. I've dabbled a little bit here and there and a couple other things, but I stick with what I enjoy the most and what I'm good at, which is buying and selling homes with people. And then also I love the real estate investing aspect to it. I love finding a good property and trying to see if we can acquire it, and then manage it ourselves. So I just have a real passion for it.
Yeah, makes sense. And then starting off on the investment side, like you did mention, are your investment also on the residential real estate?
Right. Yes, we have some units, mostly what I call small multifamily. Like our largest unit that we personally own is a sixplex. We have a
Hmm.
few couple sixplexes, and we have a fourplex, and we have some duplexes, and then we have some single family homes too. And there's people that'll make the argument that single family homes aren't that great, but I really like them. You seem to have a tenant that stays longer a lot of times. You'll have a tenant for 5, 6 years, in a single family home.
Yeah, I always
Where
like,
you have an apartment, people are a little more likely to move, maybe 6 months or a year, they're moving again, right? And so
yeah,
I like having that long-term tenant.
yeah. Yeah, so everyone, there's a lot of investors that gravitate towards multifamily, and then I say like everyone that's a tenant in a multifamily probably wants to go and live in a single family. So that the end desire and the goal of somebody, uh, the demand for single family will always be there, right? So and a lot of people that are investing in multifamily, I always say like that. I just think there's a still over demand of investors in larger multifamilies, right? And like 7 years I've been underwriting multifamilies, and I'm like, small multifamilies, they do make sense. The large ones, I'm like, I don't know. I just think there is more
Right.
money flowing into it. But fortunately, nothing major has gone wrong with that segment still. But whenever I review it, I'm like, anybody that's finally living in a multifamily, like the tenant, probably wants that single family. So the demand for single family is always going to be there. Anybody living in a single family probably wants to live in a larger single family or a more luxurious single family. So that
Yep.
core demand will always be there. Yeah, the price will vary, the markets will have an impact, but the demand, everybody probably wants to be there.
Right. I like that we have the variety. I've got we own some studio apartments that are really affordable, great for college students type, thing. And then we own nice single family homes that are a fairly high price rental where, we have professionals living there and their families and they want to be there for a long time. And I always look at it like me, like I want to live in a single family house. I want my own yard. I want to be able to grill out, and I want to listen to music and not be disturb my neighbors. And but then you had talked to people that like I want to be in an apartment because I can have a pool and I can have a workout room and I can have a party room, and so
Yeah.
um, you know, it really depends on what your situation is.
Yeah, the lifestyle does make a big impact.
Right, right.
And during COVID, I know there was a lot of trend of people moving into larger places.
Hmm.
It's starting to get back more from the workplace perspective, but I think that will also result in more people going back and living in the cities, hopefully, and
Right.
that balance things out where things are. So yeah, tell us more about how did you get started? Like I know you started off with investments, then you did the sales, and your wife is doing the property management, but like, did it all happen in a sequence? Was it intentional or it just happened?
I found myself, as kind of a career salesperson, right? I spent 15 years in one industry. I spent another almost five in another industry, and I was always working for somebody else. And that entrepreneurial spirit finally was just too much to overcome. And I was like, I want to get out and do my own thing and, keep what I earn. I would notice as a salesperson, I'd get my little commission check, and boy, did I notice that big chunk of that went to the company, right? It didn't come to me when I was
Yeah.
working for somebody else. And I wanted to get that switched around where I got the big portion of the things that I had earned, right? And that's that entrepreneurial spirit that most realtors have. And So, I remember that first year when I told my wife, because my sales job for many years was like my job had the family insurance, and my job had a company car and and a nice cozy salary, right? And you turn all that in when you're going to be a real estate professional, and you go to zero, right?
Yeah.
Certainly no company car, certainly no salary, no benefits, and that first year was a little tough, but I'd had a lot of sales experience. I like to consider myself fairly good with people, and my career kind of took off rapidly. I found it to be a really great fit for me. I really enjoyed it. Um, and I think that being good with people and relationship type person works for me. I remember getting into real estate and thinking, I'm just going to help everybody find their dream homes, and this is going to be wonderful, and we're going to have so much fun. And then one of my first after I went full time, one of my first sales was a buddy of mine that I had known since 12 years old and went through school together. His parents both had cancer and they were both dying, and they were selling the family home that they'd had in the family for more than 60 years. And every time I met with them, there was tears, including me. Like I'm an emotional guy, and the mom's crying, the dad's crying, the children are crying that they have to sell the house because mom and dad are coming
Yeah.
to the end of their life. And I was just like, man, this is not all dream homes, and you know,
Yeah.
uh, it can be a really tough business. But I'm fairly empathetic, and it worked. I was able to guide them through like one of the toughest periods of their life. And I was just like, this business is a good fit for me and somebody with my patience and personality and persistence and hard work. And so my career just kind of took off. And then, oh gosh, after 6, 7, 8 years, I'm not even sure, I started to kind of get recruited into leadership.
Hmm.
Like, you should serve on the local board. And I was like, I'm good. I just need because I was always at like a small brokerage. There's these big national brokerages, and I was always when I started, it was just my wife and me, right? And she was doing property management, and I was doing sales. It was the two of us, and then eventually I got a realtor, and then I kind of hired an assistant, and just kind of slowly worked my way up. But I really liked being at the smaller brokerage, right? The little
Yeah.
we like to call ourselves a boutique brokerage, right?
Hmm.
And so this being in leadership and having to deal with 1,100 realtors instead of just one or two didn't sound so great at first. But I kept being encouraged by people in our industry, like, you'd be a great leader. You should you should become a leader. And so I joined the board. And after 3 or 4 years of kind of turning down opportunities to become what we call in the chairs here, which is, secretary, treasurer, vice president, president, it's a 4 or 5 year commitment. I turned that opportunity down for 3 or 4 years, and people were like, no, you need to apply for chairs. You'd be a great president. So, from the encouragement of other leaders in our local community, I decided, okay, I will commit to that, right? And then, so I'm just wrapping that up. Right now, I'm the immediate past president, um, and then I'll probably roll off the board, which I've been on for, gosh, 8 or 9 years. It'll be really interesting to when I don't have that anymore. I'm just back to being Matt, their normal realtor, and not Matt, a local, a leader of our local association.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's my career, buddy, in
That,
a nutshell.
yeah, that's a very rich career with like just so much experience, right? So, and how is it like to actually still like along with all these responsibilities, still being able to serve the clients and being able to like work with them? Like how are you managing that, and like what do you foresee yourself doing in 2026?
Well, that is really where my passion really lies. I was very proud to serve as a local leader, but my passion is helping families. Like, I love selling properties and helping my clients get into properties. And I have a small team that I run and helping. I love to kind of train and teach the younger, newer agents what I know and how I've gotten here so they can grow. And I enjoy those things. So my 2026 will be filled with, continuing to serve our local association, but mostly focusing on, um, my growth as a business. As like I mentioned, I'm a little older, so I'm starting to think about when I want to retire. It's probably still a few years away, but I'm starting to kind of think like, when do I want to do this? Do I want to be 60? Do I want to be 62? I'm starting to have those thoughts. And so, and then we're right here at the end of the year. I've already got my meeting set up right after the first of the year with my team where we're all going to set our goals for 2026 and review how we did in 2025. And 2025 here locally was a challenging year.
Yeah.
We all had a good year. None of us really met our goals. We were close, very close to our goals that we set for ourselves at the beginning of the year. But I really am hopeful that 2026 can be a year where we really grow and achieve our goals. And
Yeah. I think
I'm
2025
excited for it.
very, very topsy-turvy world. At least over here, it was like summer is generally the highest transactions, right? But I think first and the fourth quarter, I saw like more transactions happening, and second and third quarter, you're wondering like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I just last week I closed. I had 5 closings in 6 days, so I was incredibly busy last week. Now I don't always have a week like that. I wish I did. That would be great if I did.
yeah.
Um, so it was a great finish to the year. That was my last closing of the month of December was I had two yesterday on Friday. So
Hmm.
um, and then I already have some lined up. I've got a few under contract and I've got some listings that will close in 2026. So already kind of off to a good start for the next year as well. And then, we'll focus, my wife and I will focus on our real estate investments as well. Um, we're at this stage where we're probably more trying to pay down debt and set ourselves up for retirement than acquiring new properties. But we always keep an eye open for a good opportunity. And if one presents itself to us, then we'll occasionally buy something, But right now we're mostly on like, let's get everything paid off so we can kind of cruise into retirement, right?
That's how it should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. One of the things I always like to ask is tell us more about the local market. Like in Lincoln, you did mention there is a thriving community right in the city, and then there is a lot of farms. But what is bringing more people to Lincoln? Is it growing? What is the market like right now?
Lincoln's a great town. So Lincoln is the capital of Nebraska. So we have our government here. We have a big insurance industry here, and we have 5 different colleges, including the University of Nebraska. The Cornhuskers. There's other University of Nebraska system schools and a couple of other towns, but Lincoln is the headquarters, right, for the university and some other smaller private universities. So Lincoln is and then we have a very vibrant startup community here. We call ourselves part of what we call the Silicon Prairie. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, Amish, but
Oh,
Kansas City, Omaha, Des Moines, Lincoln are all these lots of startup companies that are here. So Lincoln's growing fast. It's a very vibrant community. I've lived here most of my life. I haven't lived in Lincoln my whole life. I've lived in some other cities over the years, but we have a great school system here. We have a growing economy. It's a really great place to live. We get to enjoy all 4 seasons. Right now, we're enjoying winter. It's a little
yeah.
cold for me. I'm starting to like winter a little less and less all the time. But we have a beautiful autumn. We have a beautiful spring. We have a hot summer, and we have a kind of a cold winter. So we really enjoy all 4 seasons here. And it's just a great place to live. And our real estate market has been a little slower. It's been a little tough. My thing I've said is like it'd be tough to be a new agent right now. I had a great year and I'm excited for 2026, but I've been at this, more than 20 years.
Yeah.
I have one of my realtors earlier this year had the quote to me that was like, the quote was shit just falls into your lap. I hope it's okay
Yeah.
to cuss on it, because someone will just call me like, hey man, I need to sell my house, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know they were thinking about selling their house. And some of the other agents will just go, oh my God.
I wish I get one of those calls a year.
Right. Yeah. Just like I can get one. But, for me,
Yeah.
like that's a lot of, and, the joke was it's not stuff just falls into my lap. It's many, many years of hard work, right? And building the business that gets you to that
Yeah.
point. And I tell my newer agents, year 2 is you're starting to gain some momentum. Year 3, 4, 5, 6, You're really starting to build it. The
Yeah.
people that you sold houses to 6 years ago are going to call you, and they're going to have a house to sell, and they're going to buy a new one, and then you have two more sales, and so it just starts building on top of each other the longer you can stay with it. And obviously, the key is you have to take really good care of your people along the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
want to use you again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think it's that's very well said. Like it's like a business, right? It takes time to ramp up, but there are proven ways of doing the right things, and the sales experience helps a lot.
Right, right, for sure, for sure. I've got a lot of experience, and I really enjoy it. And I've been also built like a fantastic team. I surround myself with really good people, and I learned that pretty early on too. Once I partnered up with some really, really talented people that kind of had complementary skills to mine, my career just really took off.
Yeah,
I used to be an agent where I would be out selling out, showing houses, and at 7 o'clock at night I'd come back to my office and type it up and get it over to them. And finally, somewhere along my career, an agent was like, "What are you doing? Like, hire
yeah,
an assistant." I was like,
yeah,
"Well, an assistant? I'm like, what's that?" Because I didn't work at the big firm. I worked at a firm by myself. Maybe a little bit of a slow learner, but
yeah,
once I kind of started learning about like what top real estate professionals really do, how do they organize their day,
yeah.
how do they organize their business, it started to really help me advance my career. And now I'm kind of trying to teach what I know to other people too.
Yeah. And are you also like expanding the team next year?
Um, I don't have any specific plans to grow the team. I have a really nice, tight-knit small team right now, and we're having success. The brokerage, will hire some new agents, but we're kind of protective of our culture. We have about a dozen people, everybody that works with us. Our firm is called Giving Realty, and the whole premise of that is with every sale, we give back to the community. We're constantly trying to make Lincoln and Omaha a better place, which is where our agents are. And not every agent wants to, don't make a donation, right? Back to
Yeah.
the community. A lot of them want to keep that commission, which I
Yeah.
understand. But we have a group of agents that, a little more of a boutique, smaller firm with the idea like we're going to make an impact in our community.
Yeah.
And that's really important to us here. And so it's a little tougher for us to recruit because you kind of set yourself up to be here. A portion of your commissions is going to go to a local nonprofit to make an impact on our community, and not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah, and it makes in the long run it all pays back, right? It's not just from a monetary perspective, but this the like I always say, like in terms of maturity and investments, like somebody starts off saying, I cannot afford a home, they
Right.
end up buying a home in the end. I cannot afford a second home. Slowly over few decades, they end up investing in a second home. Then they're like, oh, I cannot invest into larger syndications or something, and then they invest into syndications, and then afterwards they end up being saying, I want to like I have enough money, I don't know what to do, and then that's when it's like true financial freedom.
Right.
That stage, they're trying to find a meaning for life.
Right.
Can you imagine if you were already contributing that for the whole life and contributing back to the society, the entire life will be like so fulfilling.
Yeah, I can't take full credit for our concept. My business partners, Mariah Zajic and Josie Tidball, are the ones that had the idea to like constantly give back to the community. And I found it to be a great fit for me because I was already giving back to the community, serving on local nonprofit boards and things like that, and being involved in the community. I served on the board of directors for our local libraries and for our little local leadership organization and my neighborhood association. I was doing things like that already. And then it's like, here's a way that I could take my spirit for Lincoln and my wanting to give back to the community to that next level and do it
Mhm.
like every day I do it, right? And it's been a great, and we've been going about 5 years now with this concept, and we just love it. And we've had so much positive response to our business model. People just love it. We do real estate very well, but we're also like a really, really solid member of the community as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. So as we come towards the end of this episode, I always like to ask, what are some of the other pieces of advice you would like to give to somebody that's kind of maybe starting off in real estate at the same time, like kind of any other topics that you want to speak about?
The advice I always give to any newer agent or younger agent or whatever you want to call them that's getting started out is, and you learn from the people that have done this before, and there's all kinds of sales training. You can go on YouTube and watch videos from Tom Ferry and Zig Ziglar, right? And you can get all this information. But the one that I hold on to really tightly is to like, if you're going to be in sales, the people have to, and this is one I got from an old sales trainer named Tom Hopkins. And Tom would say the people have to like you and trust you, right?
Yeah.
If the people don't like, if a client doesn't like me and is like, man, I didn't really like that Matt guy, what a jerk, they're not going to want to work with me, right? And if they don't trust that I can guide them through this very important financial business decision of purchasing real estate, they don't trust that I can guide them through that, they're not going to want to work with me either. It's like, oh, this Matt, he's a really nice guy, but man, he doesn't know what he's doing, right?
Mm.
So you have to combine those two things. They have to like you and trust you. And that's the two most important things, because this real estate, after all, is a relationship business, right?
Yeah.
It is not, once in a while, somebody finds me randomly off the internet, but most of my business, 86%, is people that already know me from the community, or my past clients have told them to use me. They tell their neighbor to use me. They tell their parents or their aunts and uncle or their siblings to work with me. Matt was my realtor. He's fantastic, right? And that's the whole goal of this whole business, is those relationships. And that's what I tell every single person that wants to know about real estate, how to be successful. Relationships are the key.
Yeah, it's one of the last few professions left that actually has a lot more personal relationship left, because majority of the other careers have become like large corporate behemoths, and it could be retail, it could be cars, it could be automobiles, it could be technology. Everything is like large, big companies.
Sure.
Big companies in real estate, but still it's a people business.
Right. Yeah, I can go online and buy stuff and never have to come into contact. Oh, I got a little excited. Never come in contact with anybody, and but real estate, someone needs to let you in that house and show you, look around and point things out to you, and answer the questions, and there's so many things to learn about looking at a house, I was training one of my newer agents the other day on how to recognize if a furnace is a gas furnace or an electric furnace, because they didn't know. The furnace has always just heated their house, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So how do you tell if it's electric or gas, right? One of the little things that we need to know as a realtor, like, how does this thing work? So
yeah, it's always interesting, and we have to document all of that into our systems and put it into the appropriate compliance documents.
Right.
Yeah. So cool. Thanks for coming on the show today. It's been very encouraging and learning about how to make a successful long-term career. I learned a lot from you as well. So thanks a lot.
Amish, thank you very much. It's wonderful to talk to you too. I'm excited to watch your continued success as well.
Thanks a lot.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.